Hey world, and welcome back to Narcissist Exposure 369. I'm your host, Welsh Queen 69. Now, I've been looking into a few things. Now, there's... how can I put this? Psychological warfare. That is the dynamic between an empathic person and a narcissist. It's all psychological warfare. You've probably heard this in other elements on other videos that I've stated with other departments, situations, and the powers that be. And you probably mentioned, I probably said a channel or two that you could watch it. I mean, like a narcissist. Let's take Disney, for example. The movie Rapunzel. Now, the mother's clearly a narcissist. Obvious, blatantly obvious, you know. Convinced it's for her safety. You know, stay in. They've locked Rapunzel in. She's been isolated. Right up in a tower, out of the way, controlled by one person that's supposedly their mother. But we all know it's not. But let's assume that we didn't in this movie right now. What would we see if we didn't know? Well, we didn't until the end of the movie, did we? But we saw that control. We saw that abuse, that neglect. That push-pull dynamic with no answers, that control mechanism. That's psychological warfare. To be isolated is to be kidnapped, basically. It's to have your rights, your freedoms taken from you. It's no different than prison or jail sentence, really, is it? It's no different than lockdown. We're told one thing, we're told to believe it, and then years later we find out it's the different thing and it had nothing to do with that. I mean, like for example, an inflammatory response which was caused by COVID-19. Yes, it was. You had COVID, you had an inflammation response to the point where doctors and specialists are saying it was so up there, but the normal routines weren't followed. Like, what do you give someone with an extreme inflammation in the body? Steroids, to bring the inflammation down, to open the arteries and the flow so the blood flow can get through. That is the point of it. That wasn't given. Was it? It wasn't. I've been watching videos non-stop about doctors saying, well, we've had hospitals that were empty during the first lockdown, but they were saying that we're all full. See where I'm going by this? So, start at the beginning. The powers that be. They tell you one thing. We find out it's wrong. Then they make excuses down the line. So, that's the point in the finger. Blame you, blame you, blame you. But then, new people in charge then, innit? So they can't look into it. Or so they say. It's a lie, obviously. Because they're doing the same thing. Let's face it, they are. Now, look at the Disney version. It's telling one person to control them, and control their dynamic, their behaviour. Basically, to control you. So what's the difference? Is there a difference? There's not a difference. This is psychological warfare. This is the dynamic I've been speaking of. Push, pull, freeze. Except when you're in that narcissist relationship, you freeze. Because like I've just said, your hippocampus, your frontal lobes, the cortisol levels within your body, it's going nuts. It can't make a decision. It doesn't know how. Your cortisol levels, that's your stress hormone. You're way up there. That's flooded your entire system. That causes brain damage. That causes your hippocampus to shrink. This is your decision-making part of your mind. You know, that short-term memory. When you remember something good, or something happy, or something evil, whatever, the hippocampus decides whether or not to put it back into permanent memory, to remember it. Our brain is essentially a computer deleting stuff that it shouldn't or doesn't want to remember that's harmful. This is why when you leave a narcissistic personality relationship, you've no fucking clue what to do. You don't. You blow. You question yourself. You pace back and forth 1,000 times. Again, this is your decision-making part of your brain. The cortisol levels are your stress levels. That's shrunk. your decision-making part of your brain. That has swollen your amygdala. That's in charge of your primal emotions, your fear response. So if you're right in front of this psychopath right now doing psychological warfare, you can't even make a decision to walk away because your decision, primal emotions, amygdala has been swollen so much by the cortisol. Your hippocampus has shrunk. That's in charge of your decision making. How can you decide or make a decision if the process in your brain has been shrunk due to cortisol stress levels that are shrinking it? I mean, amygdala is in charge of your fear, anxiety, shame. Basically, it's in hyperactive mode now. It's like, you're a puppy. You don't know what to do. You don't know, something shiny there, someone talking to you there, something you need to do back. You don't know. You're lost. This is psychological warfare. This is psychological abuse. To be with anyone with narcissistic personality disorder is to put yourself through this to the point where you can damage your brain so much you're a dribbling mess, and you will literally look to your abuser for permission, to ask what to do, to ask how to respond, to ask to live your life, to ask when to eat, to ask when you can leave. Do you see where I'm going with this? Do you see the level of abuse from being with a person like this? I know it's not their fault how they were created. It is their fault that they continue to do this to others because they know emotions. They know. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to mimic them just because they can't understand them. They know exactly that when their partner's crying, they know that's wrong. They know it's bad. But what do? They stand there and enjoy it because they have achieved control. Their ego is being fed. I'm sure this is triggering a lot of people right now while watching this. I'm very sorry. It's just something that needs to be said, unfortunately. This news needs to get out there. This needs to go viral. This needs to be told to at least everyone in the world. I'm sorry. Everyone, at least half. 1 in 5 people. No, I'm wrong. Sorry. 1 in 10 is a psychopath, narcissist, or something worse. It's 1 in 10. If you know 10 people, that's at least one person. The calculations of 1 in 6 are a bit much, but due to the autism factor and the fact they have the same traits, it's been brought down a little. But still, I would still say it's 1 in 6 that has controlling a narcissistic personality disorder dynamics when it comes to a partner. I literally sat in my office right now. As I look out the window, I see at least 4 or 5 past me every single day with mums, couples, and with their prams and their kids, literally screaming at 3-year-olds that clearly have no idea what the hell mum is on about. But mum continues to scream and make an example of a kid that's actually behaving very well. She's just taking out her issues on it. And then we got the dad factor. I mean, oof. But yeah, you get the idea. Narcissists create narcissists. Narcissists know what they're doing because they've spent their entire life researching, memorizing your facial expressions on how to react, how to respond, the right words to say. In their case, like they will say, I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm sorry you feel that way. You make me feel this way, but you're sorry that I feel this way for you being a wanker. There you go. You can see the look on my face, just making me angry. But back to the other side of it. This is abuse on an extreme level. This is psychological warfare. You're willing to put yourself through that and finally give in to the person that wants to control you, that doesn't care about you, has no empathy for you, just wants to control you. And as soon as you stop tasting good, they'll dump you and go to the next one. But that's your choice. But this is psychological warfare. Make no mistake about that. This is employed by everyone from the top to your partner. And I'm talking about the top of society, politics, everything, right down to your partner. Thanks for listening.